Hey, in the last lesson, we saw how we can select an existing document, how we can get the number of children within that document, we can get their different types, and also how we can insert a paragraph if we want in order to update and add content. And we need to specify it by its index value. So everything is array based and they all have index values. So if you want to add it in a particular spot, you can update and insert a paragraph at position number 3, the index value number 3. You can also create a function and get all the paragraphs if you want. So let's get all paragraphs or al paragraphs, and using the body object, and again selecting the method. And so there's quite a few methods always to use, and the one that we want to select is get paragraphs. So it's going to actually select all of the available paragraphs that are within the body, and then we can use the al paras value and use for each. So this is another method that's available, and this is typical in JavaScript, but they have a special one that's available within Google Script. That's why it's showing up there. And just as the JavaScript one, we can select and we can do a function. So this can be an element and then comma separated, and we can get the index value. So we can get all of that information as we iterate through each one of the paragraphs. So if we want to get the content of that paragraph, so we've got it within an element format. So we've got our element. And notice here that unlike the for loop, that EL is not providing us the drop-down. So if you do want to get that drop-down suggestion tool, then you need to use a for loop. And if you're familiar with JavaScript, you know it does the same thing, that this is just a newer way to loop through an array where we're using for each. So let's see what happens. So we're getting the element value and going into logs. You see that we've got all of these paragraphs, and then we've got the content of the paragraph. So first, as we're iterating through, we're getting the content type. So let's comment that out and run it one more time. So this time we can focus on what's contained within the content. And notice as well, every time we run the script, we're creating brand new paragraphs. So this was that initial one where I updated it, where I had the A there, and we've been adding in a bunch of stuff after that as well. So keeping in mind, every time we're running that, we're appending it with paragraphs. You could also comment this out so it stops adding in those paragraphs. So now we can grab each one of the paragraphs. Once we've got the paragraph in a usable format, let's set up another variable, and we can call this one temp. So getting that L get text, and having it as text provides it in an editable format. And now if we want to append that element, we've got another method where we've got called append text, and this gives us the ability to append a value with particular text. We append it with, and I'll just do a dash and adding in the index value that we're going to append it with. So this should effectively number all of the elements within the page. Let's run through that, and now we see that we've got -0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 all updated and added. And of course, you can customize the text that you're appending to the elements as well. So try this one out, and you can be ready to move on to the next lesson, where we're going to look at more things that we can do with the sheets. So that's still to come in the next lesson.